She cries to the heaven above. There's a stone in my heart. She lives a life she didn't choose. With her size brand new shoes. And I want you to walk. And I want you to walk. And I want you to want me too. All them bad gon' get in your way. Is it a crime? All them bad gon' get in your way.
Pack light. Hi. Happy Friday. How is everybody doing? We're here. We're back to talk about the final episode of Love Story. I'm emotional, y'all. I'm emotional, period, because boy, this episode. But this has been a really great time. I have not been amiss with any episodes that we've gotten, and it's a sad event. But we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna hype the video and hit that like button and give our commentary about how good the show was. Ashley, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. A bit careworn, Tyra. They've taken me through there. This was, in fact, a tragedy, but I'm ready to talk about it. I'm ready.
Like I said, y'all, show us some love down there in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on the show. Always hype the video because that helps us out so much. Starting where we always start, we are going to get into these overall thoughts. And I just, like I was saying, this has been really great. The fact that we all knew the outcome and we could still be touched, still be engrossed in the show, because with so many, especially like tragic stories that are so known, it's hard for me to get like gripped into a series or a movie because it's like we all know how this ends. Why are we going to care any more than we did for the doc that came out or the other show that came out or the other movie that came out? It's always some endless material. They said, hold my purse. This has been really, really good. I was really concerned because you couldn't tell me that we wouldn't have a cute 10 episodes. And yeah, we still had time. They said, Tyra, pipe down. Episode 9 is the final episode. I said, well, hold on. Hold on. How are we going to wrap up what I need to be wrapped up in one episode? I need more time. They made it happen. If I had even just maybe one critique, it did feel a little congested because they did have to wrap so much up in a singular episode. But it was more than enough to kind of get that point across and go through the grips of their relationship for good or bad and really get into the ending, what it meant and how it affected the people around them. I wasn't mad at it. Did I shed a thug tear? I did. I shed a thug tear. I was being a man, okay? I was being a real man up until the point that we got to Mama Carolyn. I got really emotional there. But the fact that they can warrant that out of something that we all knew was coming is amazing. This episode looked amazing. The acting from everyone was great. The emotions were felt. Ashley, overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts, this was a fitting end. And I had my reservations when we saw the premiere, not because it was bad, but because it started at the end. And I said, "Oh, why are y'all doing that?" What I want to say to Connor Hines and to the whole writing crew and directors throughout this entire series, y'all did an impeccable job of humanizing these people to a point, whether we liked them, whether we disliked them, we felt something for John and Carolyn by the end of this. You wrapped us into their world, as toxic and as disturbing as some parts are. You did such a great job of humanizing these people and making them feel real to us. So for that, I say you guys get kudos. It didn't turn into what I thought it was going to be, which was kind of like a hit piece, a smear piece. We know how Ryan Murphy Productions, how it can be over there. I thought this was a fitting end. I thought the ending was kind. I liked how we got to see both Carolyn's mother and, Carolyn's mother and JFK Jr.'s sister, Caroline, kind of have that heart to heart. That was probably my favorite part of the episode. But I think this was like the perfect ending. I wouldn't have asked for it any differently. To me, it didn't feel like, of course, much happened, but I think sitting with the emotions of the loss and also giving the audience a moment to grieve afterwards as well. Like when we get to hear the eulogy and we go out to the water and we can see it. I thought this was beautifully done. Again, the music selection is always going to deliver. That moment in the cockpit when he knows everything is going to hell and he's like, get in the back, try to, be safe. No, I'm sitting here by you and I want to be next to you. And I think if we didn't get anything else from the series, that's what we can take away. As toxic as this was, and whether there were motives, whether or not he was perfect or this protector or any of that, at the end of the day, these people felt something real for each other. And I think that was captured beautifully.
Don't ever say we don't give you good commentary. Moving on here and starting where I did not expect to start. Baby, we are in couples therapy. I say, baby, the emotions and stages that you guys have gone through in such a small span of time. It was a brief courtship, a brief engagement, brief marriage. Like, it's all been so quick. And you keep having to pause and go, 3 years? 2 years? 1 year? Wow. They are in here like they are at the end of their rope and they have been married all of 30 years. I say, damn. Every year for them was a decade. It's just so heavy. And like we've been saying, unfortunately, nothing has changed. We're still in a place. Carolyn still isn't, out as much. Maybe I'm leaving the house and doing my own things, or maybe my own jobs or whatever. But stepping out with you to all of the functions and whatnot, and the family dinners and this and that, I'm not here for that. I don't want to do that. John is still feeling the heat of her not doing those things, and just feels like, girl, you're doing the most. All I did was pack my stuff and leave. John. All I did was pack my stuff and leave. That doesn't mean that it was over. When I tell you we were going back and forth, and it's also negative, also toxic, and then it's like, well, you know what? We've been going through this for quite some time. How about you two separate? Oh, well, like a day or a couple of a month or two. Well, hold on. Now I'm in my man. This is my baby. What do you mean? Us being away from each other? We can't do that. I said, what? They are so toxic. The moment that we are extra combative, and which I thought it was like a really good demonstration of their relationship, because as much as you can be sick and tired of being sick and tired, the thought of not being with this person or not being able to whatever, or be separate for what? For you to go do what? You're already, having a whole meltdown because you packed your raggedy duffel bag and said you were leaving to gather yourself. You want me to separate from my man or my woman for a whole month or so? Girl, I don't know about that. And of course, we get into what they did with that advice. Ashley, what did you think about couples therapy?
Well, I told them they needed to be on that lady's couch, both of them, together and separately. So it was nice to see that they were taking some steps to try to gain some peace and resolution after we saw our good sis on her knees last episode, begging him not to leave, and he left anyway. So I was like, okay, where are we going with this? But then when we got there, I was like, oh yeah, they're not going to give this. I was like, they're not giving this 110%. Like it needs to be. They're both still very much being obstinate and stubborn. The biggest issue we've seen throughout the whole series, what they've shown in the relationship was a lack of compromise, especially on John's part, right? Yeah, this is what it is, baby. You know, you signed up for it. And here it's kind of no different. What was the most hilarious to me is after they're approached with this 1 month separation, I can't keep my hands off you now. Now I'm back in the loft. Yeah, we're banging it out like bunnies. Should we tell her? Should we not tell her? Because we haven't separated since that day. And I just think it speaks to the rebellious nature of both of them. You tell me to do this thing, I'm going to do the opposite because we know better. We know better. We know better. It almost felt like, you know, the forbidden fruit, like, dang, because you were happily living in the Four Seasons or wherever you were, John. Y'all were already separated. So what? But now I can't keep my hands off her. I got to be with you. It was funny to me. And the therapist, I think, taking it all in, like, really, is this what we're doing? But they look so good. They look so good even in therapy. I said, well, damn it. At least y'all had some moments before the end. You know what I mean? At least y'all had a good time, a little couple romps.
Oh, no. They were working this lady's nerves. I was like, y'all are in here, like y'all been married 5 minutes in married people time. But like Ashley was saying, the immediate disregard. I said, what the hell? We're down chit-chatting at the bar. It's just the key about how toxic our relationship and the way we were, and you know, this low-key got me kind of hot. Excuse me? Excuse me? Yeah, let's just go on back to the place and put it in the face. I said, these are children. These are children. They give like co-ed dorm type energy. They're so, oh, well, you told me to do this, so I'm going to do that. The fact that they felt so inclined to disregard what they like, the passion was immediately injected into the relationship because she said, who does she think she is to tell us that it might benefit our relationship to take some time away from each other and really decide what we want to do and who we are separate from each other? Ha! We finna go hump. I said, what? This is not gonna fix anything. John having the time of his life, I feel like that passion, even if they were sexually active, it was just kind of, it wasn't there. It wasn't that smoke that it was in the beginning. Yeah. And this causes them to go down memory lane about, ooh, where's the first time? And what about that? I was like, y'all done did a lot of traveling and a lot of places. And we were on that rooftop that one time, naked and exposed. And I was like, dang, y'all been together 3 years. Amazing. It's very, you know, whirlwind romance. And then it's just like, yep, we didn't know how good we had it. I was like, y'all have been together 2 minutes. Carol's like, yeah, we didn't know a good thing until it was gone. Like, they're just an old married couple at this point. And it's just, I love how even though it is so tragic what happened, like they lived life in such a short amount of time and live with each other in a way that you might with someone, you know, in older age, because they were so affluent and had, you know, resources and money and X minds, like, but all of the smacks, and it's just like, ooh, it's just so good and it's passionate, and we're having flashbacks to, you know, when we first like really kissed. I was like, yeah, John, I was living my best life. And then it's like, well, you know, I gotta get on out of here. Well, hold up, John. We really didn't do what the therapist told us to do. And this really isn't, you know, this is a Band-Aid, but nothing's changed. We haven't fixed anything. Girl, John be like, girl, damn, what you want me to do? Just said we knocking boots. Boots are being knocked. We're okay. We're in a good place. Don't go and ruin it. All you got to do now is come out the house and be with me in social events and, you know, come on, let's go. She's like, but John, mentally, I'm still not okay. We haven't made any progress. Matter of fact, I really feel like maybe we should talk to the therapist and make her think we're even more unhinged than we already are. It's still about public image. It's still about the perception and what other people think. We can't go, like, if we can't be transparent with the therapist, John, I don't know who we're going to be clear with. And this just puts a little halt on Carolyn's feelings because, this really didn't help anything. This was just kind of a Band-Aid and, you know, some good smacks. Yeah, we're still not okay. Actually, why they disregard what that lady said so quickly? Why they gotta be rebellious teens all their life?
Because I think that's just innately, especially who he is. You tell me to do this, I'm going to do the opposite because I can do it better. I know better and I don't want to live in anyone's shadow, as Whitney Houston said. But what I thought was really interesting is the conversation they have at the end when they have that conversation you just mentioned about what are we going to tell the therapist. And we talk about John just not wanting it to fail and her actually wanting it to succeed, and how those are completely two different things. You don't want a divorce and you don't want this to crumble, not because you want to have an epic marriage with me. You don't want to be a public failure again. That's what it's about for you, John. You say you've locked in. And so now no one can see your slip, not even the therapist. And Carolyn's like, I just wanted a full marriage. Like, this John now that I'm getting to experience all over again, this is the John that I've been wanting this entire time. Once we got married, you changed. You weren't the person you said you are. And I don't think you forget that, right? Not even for all of the best sex and money and all that in the world. I wanted this marriage to be special. I do. I don't just want to live on the edge of failure. And all John can say at the end of that, well, you're coming to that George Gala though, right? Like you're gonna make it there though. And I'm thinking, John, like, baby, you just never had it. Like, he never had it to do in terms of these conversations, these real conversations about where we're going, how do we plan for this, what are our expectations of each other. I think he lived his life a lot like we saw this relationship go, which is, I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to figure it out. Like, the wind's going to blow and I'm going to go and, it'll just all work out. I know one thing, I'm not going to get divorced no matter how hellish it gets or if I'm living in a hotel or not. And so I kind of felt her on that. And, we go back and forth about who's right and who's wrong. Ultimately, they're both wrong as hell in this situation. Like you said, it's two teenagers, two petulant children.
They're wrong, but after she said what she said, John was like, you know what? I think she needs more from me. You know what I'm going to do? We need to get back into it first. I was like, John, John took the whole thought of the way we were and when we didn't know how good we had it until it was gone. And remember when we first had really good sex and our kiss and when we were just so in tune with each other. But it's always smacks. Emotionally and like on a mature level, that's very, very depleted in my opinion. It's very hot and passionate and it's fun and we're going to smoke these cigarettes and it's, aesthetically beautiful and all the vacations. Anybody can have a good time in Jamaica. Anybody can live their best life in Turk and Caicos. What is it really? And I hated it. It made me think about freaking Imperfect Women when June was like, what you have is a fantasy, it's a delusion, relationships with sacrifice and compromise and blah, 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 blah. You don't even know what that looks like. But they have been kind of in this la la land of delusion. So when it's all about, well, we were really, really good back then, we just need to get back there. I don't need to fix anything now or fix what I'm doing. We need to get back there. So let me do some romantic gestures and send these flowers and, plan like a group of firsts. And this is where we met and had our kiss. And it could have been this. And this is the food. And, isn't it all coming back? Don't you want to recapture what we had before? Can't we just get back to that? Because that's when I thought that you were secure in who you were. And I didn't have to worry about you or what we are and what we were doing and you not coming out, and I didn't have to give too much of anything. This is cute, right? By the time we get here, and it was so cute, and Carolyn's like, thanks, John. Like, yeah, it was great. But when she broke down and was like, I let you in, I let my guard down. You made me realize that I wanted more for myself as a woman in my relationship. And I let you in, John. And I thought that it was going to be, and you were going to, be secure and take care of me and be there. And I'm just not. And John just always feels like flustered, like, oh, girl. I feel like, John is a really good spokesman. Like, he's good at telling someone what he thinks they want to hear in the moment. He's very charming. And he's just very easy to love. But did you understand? Are you getting the concepts of what I'm saying? This is all cute and it's good. Of course, I would love to go there, but we're not on a first date. We are married and I need more from you as a partner. The same way you want me to show up and sacrifice, I want that from you. Can I get there? It's like, oh, let's just go out in front of the building and kiss. Oh, remember when my bike got stole? John, John's just not there, and he leaves off of this pretty frustrated because this first date and recapturing who they were didn't go the way he really planned. She's laying on more emotion and more required of you as a partner, and it's just like, yeah. So how about those? Are you gonna come to the events or not? Because the people looking. Actually, how did you feel when we got to everything that we went through at that point in which he told John, and he heard, "Oh, we need to go back to the beginning, girl. Let me make it a cute date."
I mean, it was beautiful. It was this I honestly felt like this had to be fan service. I was like, there's no way they really did this in real life. I said, oh, they're just trying to give us something because we know what's about to happen and we need to
Mm.
share these beautiful moments. But constantly, John just shows up inept. Like, just looking back over it, Tyra, he really never should have been married. He was not ready to be any woman's husband at this time in his life. And again, they're still very early 30s. He just didn't have it figured out. I don't know if and we talk about it a little bit earlier, but earlier in the season, when we talk about people who experience trauma, how they experience trauma really early and how it can like kind of arrest their development and they're stuck in a certain place. I'm not going to give it all to that, but I will say that's got to be a portion of his inability to problem solve and kind of think outside the box or really think about anybody but himself or his immediate pleasure. He was definitely not a person that was giving much consideration to the future on any front of his life. So the idea of let me fix something about myself that's meaningful, I think that was beyond him. He's like, I just want to go fast. I just want to go fast. I just want to fly my planes and ride my bikes and have my backseat Kango and figure out what I'm going to do career wise. This relationship is a lot more than I bargained for. Like, what happened to the fun and the sex? Like, that's what I signed up for. I thought the marriage was, and you would get pretty, you would put on a dress and go with me to these public events, and we come home and have sex, and it'd be fine. Like, because you don't have to worry about money anymore. And I'm JFK Jr., and that's all I have to be. And I think he never, from what we've seen, and again, we're just speaking to the show, you people in the chat. I don't want to block nobody else, all right, in the comment section. But like from what we've seen on the show, this is not a fully developed mind in terms of maturity and what. And I'm not saying he was
No,
slow.
it's not at all, not at all. And Carolyn isn't too far off.
Yeah, but not lacking in emotional
Oh,
intelligence.
no, not
And
at all.
it's giving again, and we talked about that earlier, and why maybe he chose Carolyn is because she was a stronger woman, kind of mirroring some things about his mom, and he needed guidance. But no woman wants to be in a relationship with a son type of character. And that's kind of what it gave.
Well, I'm saying like no, Carolyn was definitely there. I'm saying emotional in a sense of I don't think either one of them were ready to marry anybody.
Yeah, for
No.
sure.
It's just there is no way. Like it is so problematic to get to year 2.5, year 3, and you're in couples therapy because the walls are falling down. Like, are you what? And nothing wrong with, going. Of course we want to save our marriage, but like that's so soon. So soon.
But was it soon though? Was it really a short time when their lives were so short? Like, I guess
Yeah.
it was a kind of a chunk of their,
Mhm.
adult life. It's just unfortunate because in the moment they didn't know they didn't have
Mhm.
tomorrow. So we
Yeah.
got time to figure this out, but they didn't, unfortunately, which is the
I said,
tragedy.
what's wrong with just date? Y'all should just date. Just date. Cute dates. But my mama's always right. And getting back into that more so son aspect or that stunted growth, John is going to continue to need reassurance or guidance from a woman in his life, mainly his mother, who's no longer here. So now Caroline has had to step up and take that place to tell him something that, at this point of you being a married husband, you should probably already know. But she has to break it down. She's like, look, blah blah blah. The way he was ready to sit there and complain, and it's like oh my god, what does Caroline have to be so flustered and upset about? I just feel like I'm never going to satisfy her. It's always something I'm not doing or not giving. It's just like, girl, look, I bought you a pretty dress. I got you flowers. Like, we look good, we look great. Like, just come on. It's just like, pipe down. First of all, You've had your pick of the litter all your life. You've had it your way all your life. This is the first woman you've ever been with that required anything of you, and you just ready to head for the hills. It's just too much. It's like, well, I guess that it does. It makes absolute sense. The fact that nothing's been required of you and you just thought that it was going to be so easy just because of who you are. And like I've been saying, just the privilege of being Mrs. John F. Kennedy Jr. was just going to be enough. Because who wouldn't want to be here? I've dated so many women, and mom would say that, whatever a woman I linked up with, they were always going to be playing second fiddle or in my shadow. And it's just, yeah, you didn't, but mom was, she said, baby, mom was married to the president of the United States.
This is not that. You're not him. She
She
not her.
said, this is not that. Who you are and what that is totally different. What you need to do is listen and step up. Oh, well, yeah, I guess, that kind of, not that you're saying it kind of makes sense, but the fact that she has to say it, the fact that she has to lay it out, and it's different coming from Big Sis than it is with, Carolyn, though emotional, I'm telling you the exact same thing, but you needed to hear it from here. We were not ready to be married to anybody. Ashley, she's asking for you to do something, the first person in your life.
I'm glad. I really do feel, of course, after Jackie O passed, I feel like Caroline had to be his true north. He needed guidance. There was no way he could be out in this world alone. He needed somebody that would be there to be like, John, be so freaking for real, dude. Like, we already know. And it's like he's had moments of self-awareness throughout the series where, yeah, I know I've lived a charmed life. The world normally bends to my will, and I haven't had to done all this, but this is different. I just really wish Caroline could have had some of this energy for Carolyn before the passing, but I do like that she tells him the truth, at least after the marriage. And at this point, it's like, no, buddy, like you have to do something. But do you love her? But if you love her, you need to do X, Y, or Z to keep her. And it's crazy to me. They both lived in the same household, but what a completely different lived experience each of them has had. Like, you really don't get it,
know.
John. You really don't get it, Bookie Boo. This is the first woman ever. I think he would have been happy living at least into his 40s as a bachelor, just kind of playing the field. I just think I just don't think he was, I agree. They were not ready.
John gives Leonardo George Clooney energy. Bachelor for life.
Perpetual
It's very, very that. He was trying though. He was trying. I thought we would leave off in this episode, or at least maybe the one before, kind of preparing for that break into politics and kind of campaign, maybe, because he was kind of there. I just wanted to see what that space looked like, because we didn't even get to see Carolyn confront him with, well, because that could have been, the strain here also. You told me that we would never have to worry about you trying to get into politics, and here we are. That's also, putting more pressure on me and the parts of the relationship that I really don't want to be into with you right now. You lied to me, John. We didn't even get into that. We just, had that sit down at one time and we didn't revisit it again. Lord, poor John. Poor John. He's so cute, though. He's so cute. And then we get over here with more siblings. Oh, baby, when Baby Sense mentioned, she's like, yeah, John offered me a ride. I was like, oh, God.
Say no. Damn it.
Because that was the running theme in this episode. There were so many moments that if it was just someone saying no, or you just would have turned that down, and it was just happens, and certain circumstances to where I'm not going to come to this, but now I'm going to come to it because I want to be there for you. I want to show up because I haven't been, for this past year. But she says, outside of John offering me that ride, she said, you sure you're not giving John a harder time and not really being so forgiving because what he did really reminded you of Dad, and how he would get up and leave, or he trying to hold him to a standard because he packed that raggedy duffel bag. He's not Dad, Carolyn. Are you really compromising? Are you really doing all that you could do? I said, Lauren, you are not in that home. You are not there. I'm sorry. There, and even when we get down to the moment, I have not seen any compromising on John's part. Any. Now, granted, there hasn't been a whole lot on both sides, but you have seen, which we will get into later, against her better judgment and what she's wanted to do, Carolyn compromising because I want to be with John and I want to fight for our relationship and I want to be present. And it's almost like a give and take situation. If I'm there in this capacity, maybe eventually he'll show up for me and give me what I need and what I'm crying and that vein is popping out in the middle of my forehead for. But yeah, Sister Lauren said you could try harder. Just, take one for the team. And I'm like, really? And that even bothered me when it was like, yeah, well, I heard from John today. He reached out to ask me how you were doing and blank, blank, blank. So what you tell him? I told him to call you. What are you calling Lauren for? What is that supposed to do? You're calling her to do and say what? Get your woman. Do what you're supposed to do, John. No, you're calling. So how's she doing? Is she okay? So did she say anything about me? John, please. It's just such a man boy. And I love that, but not in this sense. But Ashley John offered her a ride. She said, I'm not turning down a free ride, over the ocean in the summer. I'm definitely taking that trip. Even more, sauce on the fire for Carolyn to go ahead and go because Lauren's already going to be up there. And also Lauren telling her you might want to try a little harder because John is not dead.
I don't know if I necessarily liked the way Lauren was framed here, and I don't know the real story, and I don't know what it was, but it did kind of give. I like it over here, Carolyn. Don't mess this up for us. Don't F this up for us. I like it. I like this proximity. I like the fringe benefits. I like trips to the vineyard. Or, every couple months. I like Paris and Rome. I like this life that you got us into.
I think I like this little life.
Listen, and I don't know how I feel about that because I do feel like in this conversation that could have possibly framed the response to Carolyn and the situation because a sister first, in my opinion, but Carolyn's family, it's different from what we've seen represented. Is this fact? We don't know. But as far as what we've seen, there's been this disconnect, and Carolyn's been out on this limb by herself, Rita Louise Watson. So now for Lauren to be like, he's not dad and you're projecting a lot. I think a portion of that is true. But I also think as a sister, I'm riding for you. So what is he doing, sis? Like, is he making any concessions? Has he done anything? I wanted a little bit more of that energy in this conversation. Like, no, don't let that play with you. No, he needs to do something. Give you something, I wanted to see a little bit of that. And I just feel like that would have made me believe the interaction a little bit more. But I like the conversation. John isn't dad. Our dad left. It left this hole, it left this trauma. And that kind of paints more about Carolyn's background that we knew a little bit of. But, this idea that she could be projecting onto John. But honestly, there's not much projection going on. He left. He left her on her hands and her knees in the middle of that floor. And I'll never forget it. But yeah, Lauren, I hate she was all wrapped up into this. I really do. I hate it's where she wanted to be, Tyra. I do. It's awful.
I was hoping that this conversation was going to lead to something else, like maybe a sit down and we really have an open discussion about the terms of our marriage and what I'm expecting of you. No, we played that I won't go. we played that here with me. I say, oh gosh, like we did that. I used to slap. We played that here with me, and this was first of all, this was gorgeous. But she showed up. I said, y'all gonna get this. Y'all eating this costuming up. Everything. I'm gonna miss the show. And all the details are just there. It's so perfect. And we get here, and he's doing what he always does, grandstanding. I'm about to make my speech. It's like, I know it ain't the stallion. Is that my wife? Oh, my wife's here. My wife's here. He just lights up. Oh my gosh, she's here. She's doing this for me. She's showing up here. And when we get here, I thought you weren't going to come. I thought you felt, yeah, I know that this is important to you and you want me to be here. So I'm here. Like, I wanted to sit down before this. I wanted so much, but this just once again felt like Carolyn sacrificing and showing up for John. And we really didn't get to see the reciprocity. So it's kind of left up to our imagination to go, was he gonna, show up for? Was he gonna change? Because even prior to this, after they get to, having all their rumps in the sack, it's just all about, oh, what if we take a break, huh? What if we go travel? What if we go here, there, and where nobody can find us and just, live off the land? It's just like, well, how are we gonna? We could just take some, like, where you just saying that in the moment, because John gonna
Mhm.
tell you something good.
Mhm.
John gonna do something to make you feel better. He's gonna tell you what you want to hear, but did you really mean that? After this, were you gonna show up for me in a way that I'm not crying on my hands and knees and you packing your raggedy duffel bag as soon as I do? Ashley, what did you think about this moment? Because she showed up for this man.
It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. And like somebody said in the chat, their final official public outing together.
Mhm.
They ate down wardrobe, hair, like lighting, cinematography. Like y'all didn't miss. If they don't get an Emmy or Golden Globe or something, listen, they're nominated. Do you hear me? This is nominated for something because they ate down in the details. I thought it was beautiful, but I think it was just a reminder, a constant reminder of what we've seen throughout the series: one person bending, and the other person just kind of continually getting what they wanted. And I mean, like I said, it was a beautiful moment. But again, you see the tragedy in all of this. Like, because did Carolyn miss out on an opportunity to possibly be fulfilled in a relationship with a partner who could have met her halfway? And she had the last few years of her life being kind of a public pariah. Like, I don't know. It screams with sadness to me, in hindsight, right? But no, this ate down. They were beautiful. John was happy, and because John was happy, we're to believe that Carolyn was. I think the real
Mhm.
shot that you have down there at the bottom right truly
Mhm.
depicts their relationship. If you even look at the picture, he's forward facing to the public, to the paparazzi, everything, and she's looking
Looking
at
at John.
him adoringly, like, I'm here to serve you and whatever it is you want while you serve your public. I don't know if that makes for a fulfilling life, and it makes me sad. It makes me sad for the life she could have had or could have lived.
No,
You know,
it's very sad. It's very sad. Because I kept waiting. Because, like you said, we opened that first episode, and Carolyn does not look happy. She did not look okay. It's like, I'm here, but I don't want to be. Even now at this moment, it's like, yeah, I'm here, and I'm also gonna go ahead and go with you to that thing in the vineyard. Oh, I thought you weren't gonna go, but yeah, I'm going to go because I want to keep showing up for you. I want to maybe put that battery in your back to get that in return. But in that first episode, via the red nail polish and getting in the car, she was not a happy woman. They were not okay. And it's just like, I'm here. That's why I thought that there would be more struggle and strain and maybe an argument taking place here. But I could understand them not wanting to kind of leave off with that and kind of leave off on a softer note. Cause it's like, dang, if we we went in that plane and we weren't happy either. Like,
damn.
it's sad.
Right.
It's sad. It's tragic. Oh man. But I was waiting. I was like, Carolyn did not look okay when she said, what, just take the red nail polish off. I don't need those problems. But then we get here. Then we get here. I was so curious as to how they were going to do this. I didn't know. I didn't expect it to be anything short of great. But I'm like, are we gonna like have the crash, or like, is it gonna just be them boarding the plane and we just kind of go off? Typically in a situation like this, we don't know what was said or done up there because,
Yeah.
so it's open to interpretation. So the fact that they decided to put us in the plane, I said, oh my God, we're in the plane. I said, we're in the plane. I didn't expect for us to go on the plane. I thought that we were going to board and have a little moment like we were doing in that first episode. And then we were going to get into the family and, them being notified about what occurred. They put us in the plane, y'all. I did not expect for us to get up there. I said, this was a choice, and I'm not mad at it. I'm hurt because, like, girl, it turned into a horror movie. I said, oh my. It got really, really dark, and it was so sad. This is such a sad way to go to and how we had, I like when we had our our detectives or investigators show up and kind of explain how the crash occurred and what it looked like from their end. And John not really being able to differ between what was the sky and the ground, and it's all just kind of dark, and things are just kind of spiraling. But you see her sitting back there with Lauren, and it just goes dark, and then it's red. I say, "Oh my god." I said, "Oh my god!" I was so shocked because I didn't expect them to do this, but it's like, things are kind of getting rocky. I want to go up here and sit with John, and you could tell John is trying to stay calm, but it's like the fear of Jesus in his face because he knows that something's going wrong and they're probably going down. And it's like, you know what? Go back there. Go with your sister. Things are okay. She's like, I'm going to stay up here with you. And this was just symbolic, just as far as their relationship, because they didn't have to give us this. We don't know what transpired completely up there. Nobody knows but the people who were sadly here and lost their lives. So the fact that they did this to kind of give the audience in their relationship some closure, this was very sensitive. And I feel like they handled it in an appropriate way. Was I surprised? I was. Was I scared? Because I said, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I was really, really nervous. I didn't know how
Okay.
far we were going to go, but I think they began it and we did the end at the right and appropriate times. And they gave closure in a way that we couldn't any other way because, we're gone at this point. But Ashley, how did you feel about this up here?
I was like, did they have like black box recordings back then or something? I was like, did they hear something over the thing? Because they talking. I said there was a recording in the plane. But no, I actually thought that this was done tastefully as well. If they were going to do it, which they could have left it out, and I think we would have gotten it. But I like that we got to see again what we've seen echoed throughout the relationship from the beginning. Carolyn was going to ride with him. Like, I know what's going down and I know you don't know what you're doing, John, but let me hold your hand and let me sit up here with you. I really all the time, though, if I can be honest with you, was like, John, if you don't pick up that wheel, it go up. Like, you're going down. You don't feel your ears popping. You don't feel yourself go. I said, if you don't pick up that thing and pull, I watch enough Top Gun, Tyra.
Actually,
I've watched enough Air Force Tuskegee Airmen to know that you pull it back. If you want to go up, if you want to level something out, you pull up, damn it. It wasn't just instrumentation class that he was missing. He was missing hours of training. He did not need
I
to
thought
be
they
up
were
there.
going to bring that up. I
He
think
did
they
not
wanted to not do a disservice to John's
listen.
character, and they didn't want to sling too much mud. But I thought that we were going to take some time about how ill-equipped he was to even be up here. We kind of mentioned it last episode about him not really taking real time. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about, Carolyn. I'm going to meet with the instructor, and I'm going to do this, and you don't have control over that. I'm doing good. Meanwhile, we weren't prepared, and we didn't have all our hours up here. I thought they were going to bring that up, but they decided to just kind of go in this direction.
Well, it pissed me off, Tyra, because if you don't pull that thing, I know you do that and try to get level. You see the line is down here, and you're not doing nothing to bring it back up. We finna go. Like, I don't like that. That ticks me off. But outside of that, it seemed everyone had made their peace with it. Like, I think as soon as the red light came on and we were clearly flying into the ocean, I think everybody was just like, well, Lauren was in the back like, well, I guess this was it. And up there, this is not funny, y'all. I'm just saying, as far as the scene, and this never had to be. They never should have been up there. Not any of them. But I will say, like I said, in the relationship, I want to sit by you, John. I know this is going to hell. Like, I think we had to know it because she was reminded and warned by her mother very early on. This is going to ruin you. You're not going to be the same Carolyn after this. And I think here she just kind of resigned herself to wherever John goes, I too go with him.
Absolutely.
I did shed a tear. I did. It was touching in the moment, but I was pissed more than I was sad, Tyra. I was like, this didn't have to be. It didn't have to be.
This reminded me, because we didn't get into his lacking in ability and preparations to even be up there, the moments when she was like, well, John said that he was going to protect me and I was going to be secure and he was going to talk to the paparazzi, like just kind of that land of delusion, to where it seems like from what we saw, Carolyn was wise. She knew that he wasn't prepared in every single way that he could possibly be to be up here alone out of all things. But she followed him into that plane and she brought her sister with her. So if that ain't, stand by your man, I don't know what is. Because I'm sure that she knew, but it's like, they had some flights before, and it's just like any other time. But just like with the relationship and my expectation, I need you to check all boxes. If I'm going up here and my sister's going up here,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was just like, I will follow this man.
Off
No
the
pun
cliff.
is absolutely, no pun intended. But I will follow this man to the end. And unfortunately, our sister was there with us too. This
Yeah.
girl.
They pieced it together and made it palatable. I'm sure that's probably not um what happened. There was such a calm and such a
Hmm.
peace, but I think that's how they wanted us to remember them.
Yeah,
So
I think if it would have really landed to it being a lot if they were frantic or panic, or if it was like
yeah.
a notion of we're gonna die, and it was that type of scene. This just was meant to give the characters peace and the audience peace, because we know what happens after this. But I didn't expect to get in the plane at all, so I was shocked. Say, oh my god, why are we up here? Where are we going? But god damn it, John.
Damn it. Just take your
Oh
classes. You can do
Lord.
everything. You can't
That's
do
just
every damn thing.
It just shouldn't. He just shouldn't have been up here. Mm. But we do get a sense, shouldn't have been up there later on in the episode when we get into Mama. Now, prior to this, because I didn't know, I thought that it was kind of instantaneous, and they were kind of gone, and the family was notified. I didn't know that there was a whole window of them just being lost and us not
Yeah.
really knowing what happened. So the family's just kind of left in suspense to where I was like, this is terrible. This is terrible. I thought the crash happened and we were going to go through the notification. I didn't know that there was any window of time to just really have coast guards and people out and just looking and trying to scout the last sightings of John and Carolyn. Did or didn't they make it, if they crashed or they still. I was like, oh my, this was just really gut wrenching. Especially getting into Mama Carolyn, like those phone calls and stuff when they got when she was pulled, out of the home, and it's like, we kind of let like John's plane, blah, 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 blah. It was in between that and just the news. I was like, this just had to be really insufferable at the time to just really not know, and then later get confirmation. Did you know that there was just a moment in time of however much of them just being considered lost, and we didn't know for sure whether they were gone or not?
No, I was not familiar with really any of this. Like, I knew that it had happened, but real time, I don't know. I must have been outside playing. I do not remember like the details. I thought, the plane went down and they were just found. I didn't know we had like this search and rescue mission to get them. And it was watching this was hard. This probably got me more than seeing what we knew, because we already had, I think you'd already prepped yourself for the inevitable with what was going to happen in the series with John and Carolyn. But I think
Mhm.
seeing the aftermath and how it impacted, for me, both Carolyn's mother and Caroline. I mean, Caroline, because damn it, how many more people can I lose? And she did a beautiful job acting. Like, from the time we
Mhm.
get to the cabin, we get the announcement and she's kind of handling everything. A beautifully acted presentation for that portion. But this can't be real. No, 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 no. Not John. Not John too, on top of everyone else. And then as far as Carolyn's mother, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because, first of all, I warned her about this, and your family's not about to do this with me. And my baby, my other daughter that was there, she was there. She's not an afterthought. This was not, a little peon. This was a real person too. And how dare you? But no, the shock of the lost and we don't know. I think initially they knew, though. I think both Carolyn's mother and Caroline knew that there was nothing. I think this was like the culmination of all of Anne's fears that she'd had throughout this entire relationship. Like, I knew this was going to be hell, and I knew it was going to mess with Carolyn, and now y'all have taken my baby from me. I felt every bit of it.
Uh, I just didn't know that there was this window. I was like, oh god, just to have an air of hope, because it happened, but it's like maybe they're going to be found, maybe they're going to be rescued. Like this was like really gut wrenching. So by the time we get absolute confirmation, And I said, "Oh gosh."
Oh yeah, that's where it was. I can
Once
see it.
once Caroline, breaks down and it's like cut it off. I don't want to hear it. I can't. I think it's really uneasy to step back and not just the death that surrounds the Kennedy family, but just the immediate. It's like the immediate circle of the family. There's been so much death.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, somebody needs to answer. Somebody needs to throw some moon rocks and some crystals on it. I need something, because this is it's really unexplainable. And to lose, of course, your father, and then we've lost uncles, and we've done this, and time and time again before, just throughout my life of just growing up. But now we're here. We're of a certain age, but from more so of a natural cause, we lose our mother before her time. She's gone, but we have that sense, of course, of at least we have each other, and we see that they need each other real bad, real bad, and they just seem so close. And I really loved getting into their relationship in the entirety of the series, for good or bad. Even when we're mad like they're siblings. They really love each other, but this is who she's holding on at this point, as this is, at least I still have my brother. So at the aspect of him being gone, and I don't want to hear it. It was so well acted. I was like, which said, "Don't touch me. I don't want to see anything. Don't say anything, because I know what this is, and I just can't digest it as that right now. He can't be dead. He can't possibly be. Like, it doesn't make any sense." And when she said he was just here, I said, "Oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. I have to get out of here." I was still being a triple OG, but this was very, very moving and touching, because no one should have to suffer through this much loss, especially this frequent, and just be expected to just continue. I was like, this is exhausting. Ashley, it can't be John. She said, "I can't do this again."
It's hard. If you've endured loss in your own personal life, it's hard enough when it's anticipated. Like someone gets sick, and you journey through that with them. That's hard, right? Even if they've lived a full life and they're older, that's hard. But I
Mhm.
think to endure loss, and all of the losses you've endured up to this point, which are several, you've had this person to connect with as you're going through it. And now I don't even have that anymore. Like I don't even have that rock who's experienced the same losses that I have. We've lost our father together, our mother together, our uncle together, all of these things. I think that's profound. And then I just I can't you can I don't think people can really conceptualize the pain and hurt that one would endure in that moment. Because if you've lost somebody, you know that you go through a period of time where it's very much not real, where you very much want to go to their house and knock on their door, or you call their phone thinking that they're all of a sudden going to pick up, or where you're dreaming of them. Like it's so heavy and it's so deep, and just for her to get a couple minutes to convey that to us, and her delivering it, I thought it was an exceptional job. I felt every inch of this. This is where the waterworks for me truly began. Because I said, "Oh, damn it, Caroline. Like, golly, like, this is the weight of that is crushing." And I don't even know how you rebound or recover from that. All your mother, father, now your brother. You're the last one. You're the last of the Mohicans in your immediate family.
Mhm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I I was feeling it here. The waterworks didn't come until we got into Mama here. I said, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't take it anymore." I said, "Okay." That I could identify with the anger. She was really, really hurt. Mama, first of all, it's like there's no really immediate reach out, but it's really easy to disregard just the public and what was going on. It's just as far as we go from scrutinizing Carolyn in the public eye and being on her head top the entire time, just ruining her days. And then when the death occurs, it's just all John. And it's just, the fallen son, John F. Kennedy Jr. gone. And, a lot of the times we're just mentioned John F. Kennedy and wife, John F. Kennedy and blank, if she's there at all. And Lauren's not mentioned anywhere. So to lose two daughters and in such an immediate way, that is really hard for me to digest. That's crazy. That's crazy, especially with how much emotion she gave before the nuptials as to why she didn't want this, and it was almost like a premonition. This just really has to be tough. So when we come here and you feel like there's a disregard publicly for your children's lives, and we have a sit down with the husband. So what she said, what why are you
You're
here?
here. Who are you?
Who are you? Why are you here? So well, my wife and I, the family thought so much of my girls, or just the tragedy that they sent you. I just can't with that. That's not what I expected. She needs to be here. The family needs to be here. She's just really feeling like her girls, especially Lauren, like they just didn't matter. They were just the blimp, and this is just the downfall and the tragedy of losing the junior. But what about my girls? What about him, even being ill equipped to be up there in the first place? What about that? There's that sense of blame because they were up
Yeah.
there and he shouldn't have been flying that plane. And then there's a sense of, now you're coming to tell me where my daughter should be buried. And we were thinking that, it's tradition. Like, we're still, even in this moment, it's still about the family way and tradition, and all the Kennedys are buried here. And she was technically a Kennedy, but yeah, she was my daughter first. And you keep just saying she, her. I lost two children. Two of my daughters were up there, and you came to sit your happy ass down here and tell me what, child. This is when I started crying. This is when I started crying. Once she makes her way back to the loft to go start looking through and packing up things, and we just have that chance meeting, and I doubt that something like this, like the writing here was really good. I said, oh my goodness. This is really good. So just to have this chance encounter, and it's like a mother to a sister type of moment, and all of this regret that Carolyn has, and her feeling like when Carolyn, before this, and Carolyn's just sitting on the couch, and she's like, he just wanted to be, he just wanted to live. He, was always kind of running from that little boy in blue, and just the inception of what that meant to lose our father in that way. And now he's going to be immortalized in the exact same way and never be remembered for anything more than what he could have been. I say, oh, then I started crying. Then I started crying when we're getting into grief and what that is. And Mama's talking about just the immediate loss of both of her daughters, and how that's affecting her psyche, that her daughters, were so brilliant and had all this purpose, especially when we're just getting into Carolyn, and how she felt like she didn't know who she was, and she lost herself, and she's gone before she could have even found herself again. Like, she died in a way that is just not complimentary to who she was, and now she will just forever be known as Mrs. John F. Kennedy, who died in that tragic accident. And oh, her sister was up there too. Both of my daughters. This is, yeah. So when we have, the hand holding and the embrace and everything is very much so needed, or even just for Caroline to acknowledge I wasn't as friendly or as close, but I, saw these things about Lauren, and just Carolyn. It was, they just know that there was love there, and there was this, and there was, she did a great job of being understanding, because my ass, I was gonna lead with my gut and be mad as hell. I'm gonna lead into the tragedy and the loss and the weight of the situation. But this was a very adult conversation to have, and I was really glad that she extended that olive branch of, well, even though my husband came down to the meeting and said X, Y, and Z, I would actually prefer and maybe ask if it's okay that they be cremated together and spread across the ocean. This was really great writing, but this is where I started crying because I couldn't take it no more. Ashley.
Yeah. I appreciated this again, and I feel as though it was done in good taste, because not only do we get to see Carolyn's mother go from I'm pissed as hell and I'm going to get all of this out of me, but then also recognize I'm not the only one grieving. in this moment. And same for Caroline. Throughout the whole season, we've seen her as kind of stern and kind of really just about her family. And so for her to humble herself in this moment after losing again the only somebody, listen, her brother in this moment, and say, yeah, I'm sorry. And let me take a moment to acknowledge the fact that you did lose someone as well. And how can we meet in the middle? I thought this was a beautiful demonstration and display of like womanhood and grief and all of those things. Again, as far as Carolyn's mom, I can't imagine. I can't imagine the way, I can't imagine the idea of having a feeling, um, kind of a knowing, like a deep knowing something terrible was going to happen, and then to see the full result of it, and you lose not one, but two children, and you literally lose your daughter in the front seat after that's the story you told at their rehearsal dinner. It's just beyond. But I loved the banter. Again, this was probably my favorite scene of the whole episode, when these two ladies are having that conversation and Carolyn's like, yeah, I really didn't like her. I didn't. I wasn't there for her in real
Yeah.
life, but I can appreciate who she was and that she loved my brother. And you know, we can find something in that. He always said he wanted this. And I loved how we got to get the parallel of John and Carolyn's lives here, because it was really similar in the fact that they both died under someone else's legacy, under
Yeah.
someone else's name, forced to be something that they weren't, or really not having the ability or haven't had the time to carve out their own way in the world. Not either one of them. They were so young with all of their lives ahead of them. I think this captured the grief. I think it captured all of the emotion. I love the moment when Caroline walks out and this once public that was so like foreboding is there now leaving flowers and offering like remnants of hope and peace and comfort. This was Chef's Kid, 10 out of 10. No notes for this scene for
That
me.
was great. This was a very mature scene. I didn't know how they were going to handle this, and I was glad that they gave room for the mother. I didn't think that they, for a moment I thought it was just going to all be centered around Caroline, and I was like, oh, we really going to go here. I would really like to see how she was feeling and grieving. So when she got the phone call as well and we got this closure here, I was really happy because I didn't know where the show was going for a minute. But this is very mature. I say, oh my gosh.
And as she should have. We can keep it cute to drop their ashes and I can still sue you, because he was wrong. He should not have been up there. I would have sued the estate as well, all about my children. I would have. I would have too.
You say she should have, so she didn't.
Did. They
She
said she
did.
sued for 15 million and she won.
And she should. That was crazy. I
As
would.
she should have. I would
I
have
don't
sued
have. I have no issue with that.
them.
That was crazy.
I would have
That
sued
was crazy because I'm sure it's a whole sector of people like she didn't have to get in that plane. She got in there in her own admission. She didn't. She wasn't forced on the plane, but yet and still, you should have not have been up there flying. You shouldn't.
them. The onus of responsibility is on a pilot, just like it is on a boat captain, just like it is on anybody, on a bus driver. If you're driving said thing and you're not equipped and you're not trained, that's liability.
This was sad. It was really hard to get into Caroline's the depiction of just grief and loss and what that looks like. It's just a Tuesday. It's always happening. There's always a death occurring. Like it's normal. But I never thought it would be John. This is yeah. I cried. I said, "Oh my gosh, am I crying?" I'm crying. Oh man! And then we get here. We get to the eulogy and the ceremony and whatnot. This was beautiful. I was like, oh, this is very very sad. This was a really proper send off. It's like whoever was doing the majority of the writing here, keep going, baby. When this comes back around, don't be trying to be cute and go find other people. Go find other writers, find other set direction and cinematography and who's on. Get the same people. Whoever executed this as well as it, because it could have been so easy to mess this up. It could have been so easy to rush this. It could have been easy to make this one-sided. It could have been easy to make someone look like the villain, a perpetrator. It was very balanced. And it was emotional. I was like, oh, this is very emotional. And just to have it be so clear and clean, where we have it at the backdrop of the eulogy and she's giving this poem and we're kind of getting into their embrace. And I low-key wanted Lauren to walk up and sit there in her white sweater, but I was like, all right, this is their moment. This is their moment where we're not going to do that, I guess. But this was a very proper goodbye. I thought the ceremony and the representation was very gorgeous. It was nice to see everybody showed up. Very emotional to see the cousin sitting out there. You could see like his weight and everything was kind of wavering, and it just kind of gave like, wow, I always thought it would be me first, not you. You left before I did. Like this is insane. Just really feeling that loss. And of course, we board the ship and we dropped those ashes, and we say bye to our folks. Like this was very, very sad. I really hate this. Ashley, how'd you feel about the ceremony?
Damn. This was touching. It really was. Even Berman ass was there looking
I saw him. I said
miserable.
Ashley probably went, ugh.
I did. You know I did. You know I did. You know I did. I hate it so bad. And y'all, I see your comment, and I heard her say that. I heard Carolyn's mom say that they blamed her because her nail appointment took too long, and that's why they had to
Girl,
night.
it was the fact I expected that because it's always been that public ridicule and the foot being all on Carolyn's neck, and John is just he's with that woman. But the fact that it never registered to Caroline, she's like, I don't even read the tabloids. Like, she's just so void in that way because these are things that I've had to deal with my whole life, whether it was good or public, just poor scrutiny. But I didn't really consider that for the common person being embraced or being married into the Kennedy family. That's really messed up. Like, well, yeah, it's just, I loved how even it was, and them identifying and seeing things from both sides, because it just, the scene could have been really messy, and it had so much room to go left, and I felt like it was executed so well. Whoever did that, they need to do everything else.
It was. They did an exceptional job. It was so balanced, and it was nuanced, and it was quiet. And I think it was tastefully done. But the eulogy touched me. Of course, I think it touched everyone there. I think it takes so much strength to be able to get up and speak and burying two of your babies. I thought the send off and kind of us getting to see the little vignette of John and Carolyn. I thought I think this was a perfect ending to the series. It was beautifully done. Two flawed individuals who found something in one another. And if they didn't have anything else in the end, they had each other, Tyra.
They had each other. They had love. There was passion. There was passion. This is the embodiment of that's your man. That's my man. You gonna say I'm gonna stick beside him. I'm gonna stick beside him. Very, very tragic though, but beautifully executed. Yes, when she said like you're not gone, you're still here. I said this is beautiful. I said, who wrote this? This is beautiful. This is really nice. It was a really, really, really great send off, and I was glad that we were sure to show all the faces. Even Berman was there. I was like, yeah, everybody's there. Everybody's there.
Calvin was there. Front and center.
Everybody was there. But leaving this here, word on the street is we're going over here next. We're going over here next with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Ciao. Now, I just put what I know off of the rip, and I had to go check because I didn't know it was. I knew I did a lot of movies together. I said it was like 11 movies, but 2 marriages, 2 divorces, 11 movies, publicized affairs. Because baby, we was cheating. I don't care who I'm with. I'm coming for you, Richard. I'm coming for you, Elizabeth. Who gonna check me, boo? I'm coming for my woman because that's mine. I don't care who she with. I don't care who he with. I'm gonna flirt in your face. I'm gonna steal your man behind your back. This is going to be messy.
Mess. Oh, mess. Ain't no mess like this kind of mess, honey. Ain't no mess like Elizabeth Taylor mess.
Messy. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard, I feel like they've had their story told a few times, but I don't feel like it's been up to the standard of what I would want to see. It's all been missing, or it's like you found this. I think they did one with Lindsay Lohan. It hasn't been as tasteful. So if we can come through and execute them the way that we gave John and Carolyn the grace and the treatment, I would be here for it. This is going to be hella entertaining. Ashley?
You talk about mess and kind of going over into Ryan's lane that he absolutely loves. Oh, this is going to be for sure. This is the only white Cleopatra I ever tolerated. I'm going over here with Elizabeth Taylor. I will be front and center with my good popcorn, Tyra, with my spectacles on and a big glass of sweet tea, because I am ready for all of the mess that is them. They couldn't quit each other. And Elizabeth was going to have them boys. Do you hear me? And Richard was going to have who he was going to have as well. I'm ready. This is going to be good. If they, I saw Connor, you sent me the article. I said, Connor, if you go over here, do them justice. And who are we going to cast as our Elizabeth Taylor? Because, honey, she was nothing to play with in
She
her day.
wasn't. Girl, I want to see because they like to play. They think if they throw a couple of contacts on somebody, it's Elizabeth Taylor. We need somebody to sell it. I can't even think off the back who they would cast, but they have they set an expectation now. Now you got to match that energy. You can't come and half deliver here and give us. I need everything to match to a T because y'all delivered so hard with John F. Kennedy and Carolyn. Come on, pull up. I can't wait. I can't wait. But you guys, that was Love Story, and it's over. What is this? Numbers in your pocket. It's over, y'all. It's over. It's over, and I'm sad about it. Cause what it's gonna do? Can y'all please drop down in those comments? I already see something here said, I hope you're also doing the Foresight Saga too. It's good.
Gigi, I have a video up already comparing the first episode to the first episode of the Foresight Saga. Go check that out. If we can get Tyra on board, we can talk about it. We can add it to the rotation.
Drop down. After you hype the video, drop down and let us know what we should place in this slot, you know, for the weeks moving forward. A lot of things are dropping, but they aren't good. So if you know something that's really good and entertaining, I would really love to hear your thoughts about it. Ashley, anything you want to share with the folks before we get out of here?
Yeah, go run up the Foresight video. I already got one up. Yeah, go run that up. It is a decent start to the series. I cannot wait. Yeah, but be sure to check us out. Paradise finale, y'all. It's over. Like, Paradise is ending. Our 90-Day Fiance before the 90 days coverage will be in. Well, we got a reunion or two. We got a 1 or part 2 reunion. But it's looking real dry. We started Imperfect Women. If you're watching that, please go back and watch that live from last night. It was a good time. We had Dom on, right? It was a balanced conversation. But please like, hype, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you got to do. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for coming through and supporting us all season with this, supporting the uploads. We appreciate it so much.
Ashley said, "Are we getting a cross wrap up or?"
Who?
Not who, y'all. I'll think about it. I'm already, Sean. I'm ready to go. Ashley still has to watch Euphoria, but I can't wait to see how that turns out because everything is set up for whatever they're delivering to fail and not be good. I'm hoping they subvert that and it's cooking, but too much has happened for Euphoria to come back strong. But yes, y'all, thank you so much for watching. We definitely appreciate the love that y'all have shown to these lives, and we'll be back with something really, really soon. Hopefully that's good. But y'all have a good night. Thank you for watching.
Good night, y'all.
She cries to the head.